Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is the place where we explore strange discoveries, unexplained mysteries, and stories that sit right on the edge between legend and reality. Today's topic is one that people have argued about for centuries: mermaids. Half human, half fish said to live beneath the waves, appearing in ancient artwork, sailor stories, and folklore from cultures all over the world. Most people assume mermaids are nothing more than myths, fairy tales created to explain the unknown dangers of the sea. But what if that assumption is wrong? Because when you start digging through historical records, eyewitness accounts, and some genuinely strange physical discoveries, the line between legend and reality begins to blur, and in some cases, it becomes uncomfortably difficult to explain everything away. Let's start with something that often gets dismissed immediately whenever mermaids are mentioned: historical sightings. Long before cameras, special effects, or viral hoaxes, sailors were reporting encounters with strange human-like creatures in the water. Christopher Columbus himself wrote in his ship's log that he saw mermaids off the coast of the Caribbean. He described them as not as beautiful as legends suggested, but unmistakably humanoid. Other explorers from different countries, who had no contact with one another, described remarkably similar creatures: upright torsos, long hair, human-like faces, and tails instead of legs. It's easy to say they were just mistaken, that they saw manatees or seals. And in some cases, that explanation might work. But not all sightings fit that description. Some reports described creatures standing upright on rocks. Others described beings swimming at impossible speeds, watching ships from a distance, or interacting with humans before disappearing beneath the surface. What makes these stories more unsettling is how widespread they are. Nearly every coastal culture in the world has some version of a mermaid legend. Not just one or two civilizations, but dozens. Ancient Greece had sirens. Africa has mamiwata. Japan has Ningyo. Indigenous tribes in the Americas have their own sea people stories. These cultures developed independently, separated by oceans and centuries. And yet, they all describe something eerily similar. Then there's physical evidence. And this is where things get truly strange. In the early 2000s, several beaches in Asia reported the discovery of bizarre humanoid remains washed ashore after storms. These bodies didn't resemble any known marine animal. They had elongated torsos, human-like skulls, and what appeared to be fins or tails rather than legs. Photos circulated briefly before disappearing. Some were labeled hoaxes. Others were quietly removed by authorities. No official explanations were given in many cases. Japan has a long history of mermaid-related relics. Temples across the country claim to house preserved mermaid remains, sometimes called Ningyo mummies. For centuries, monks displayed these objects as sacred artifacts believed to bring longevity or protection. Modern scientists who were allowed to examine a few of these remains found that some were indeed stitched together using parts of fish and monkeys. But others didn't fit that explanation so easily. The materials, construction, and age didn't match known hoax techniques. In 2022, researchers examined one such specimen believed to be over 300 years old. While parts of it could be identified, other components didn't match any known species. The conclusion wasn't that it was definitely a mermaid, but that it couldn't be fully explained either. Then there's the infamous Fiji mermaid, one of the most famous mermaid hoaxes in history. It was displayed in the 19th century as a genuine preserved mermaid and examined by scientists of the time. Eventually, it was labeled a fabrication made from a monkey's upper body and a fishtail. But the story doesn't end there. The technique used to create it was so advanced that even modern experts admitted it would have required an extraordinary level of anatomical knowledge. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If this was a hoax, who was making such convincing ones centuries ago? And why? Moving away from physical remains, we have to talk about modern sightings. In the early 21st century, reports of mermaid-like creatures began surfacing from places no one expected: landlocked lakes, military zones, and restricted coastal areas. In Israel, multiple people reported seeing a humanoid figure with a tail performing flips in the water near Kiryat Yam. The sightings were so consistent that the local government offered a reward for photographic proof. Then, just as suddenly as they started, the sightings stopped. In Zimbabwe, residents near dams and rivers reported encounters with water beings they described as half human, half fish. The reports were taken seriously enough that construction projects were halted after workers claimed to be attacked or frightened by something in the water. In some cases, traditional leaders were consulted to perform rituals before work could continue. Skeptics laugh at these stories, but the fact that large-scale infrastructure projects were delayed because of them is undeniable. One of the most unsettling modern pieces of evidence comes from sonar scans and underwater footage. The ocean is vast. More than 80% of it remains unexplored. Sonar images have captured fast-moving shapes that don't match known marine animals, objects that move vertically through the water column with speed and control. Some divers have reported hearing strange vocalizations underwater, sounds that don't match whales, dolphins, or known species. Then there are the unsettling encounters reported by fishermen and sailors. Stories of nets being torn apart by something strong and intelligent. Creatures watching from beneath boats, hands gripping the sides of vessels before vanishing. Many of these accounts are dismissed because they come from individuals working in isolation at sea. But when similar stories emerge from different parts of the world, patterns begin to form. Another disturbing angle comes from biology itself. The human body is surprisingly well suited for aquatic life. Humans have a natural diving reflex that slows the heart rate underwater. We have a layer of subcutaneous fat similar to marine mammals. Human infants can instinctively hold their breath when submerged. Some researchers have proposed the aquatic ape hypothesis, suggesting that at some point in our evolutionary past, humans may have adapted to a semi-aquatic environment. While this theory remains controversial, it opens the door to an unsettling idea. What if humans weren't the only ones to make that adaptation? What if another branch evolved differently, one that returned fully to the ocean? Then there are classified military encounters. Declassified naval documents have acknowledged the existence of unidentified submerged objects, USOs, that move underwater at speeds far beyond known technology. Some of these objects appear to enter and exit the ocean seamlessly. While officials attribute these to advanced drones or sensor errors, the lack of concrete explanations fuels speculation. Stories from naval personnel add to the mystery, sailors reporting humanoid shapes swimming near submarines. Sonar operators tracking fast-moving biological targets that don't match known species. These stories rarely make headlines, but they circulate quietly within military communities. And then there's folklore that feels too specific to ignore. Many mermaid legends describe them as intelligent, curious, and sometimes hostile, not gentle Disney characters, but beings capable of dragging people underwater or luring them with song. This darker portrayal aligns disturbingly well with some modern encounter reports. One of the strongest arguments skeptics make is simple. Where are the bones? Where is the clear, undeniable proof? But the ocean is the perfect place to hide evidence. Bodies decompose quickly. Bones sink. Scavengers erase remains. Even whale skeletons are rarely found intact. Expecting mermaid remains to wash ashore regularly may be unrealistic. What's more disturbing is the possibility that evidence has been found and removed. Throughout history, governments and institutions have suppressed discoveries that didn't fit accepted narratives. Strange remains quietly taken for analysis. Footage classified. Witnesses dismissed. Is that happening here? There's no definitive proof, but there's enough smoke to make some people wonder if there's fire beneath the waves. Mermaids may never be proven to exist, or they may one day be classified as another misunderstood species hiding in the depths. What's certain is that the ocean holds far more secrets than we're comfortable admitting. And some of those secrets might look back at us with human eyes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy exploring mysteries that challenge what we think we know about the world, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more hiding beneath the surface.